major and things like that, but it is a big question mark, I think, for a lot of people. So we'll start off on that, but see where they're playing.
Yeah, map veto on your screen right now. We'll just go ahead and see what we have here.
Ooh.
So I think this match, as much as the next match is our match of the day, I think this match is going to be a bit of a discovery for both teams, because both SSG and Rogue right now, I feel like in a lot of people's minds, a lot of fans' minds, are where do they really stand?
Yeah, and it's a big question, of course, because you've got new operators in the mix, you've got technically a new map in the mix, you've got a one roster change there as well, and then they've been working on a lot of stuff during that off time that you're talking about, and I think both teams are going to be looking to strap very heavily against each other, and we actually, I believe, if I remember correctly, have a new analyst as well on, unless I'm thinking of a different team. I think maybe I'm thinking of a different team on Rogue.
Haven't heard anything.
I thought Ranger was getting someone to help him out.
It's possible.
But either way, though, I think I'm looking forward to a lot of changes from them. And SSG have proved, especially at the later LAN events, that they have a lot of potential that they're not always showing online.
Yeah, I feel like SSG is definitely a LAN team. But let's see what you guys think with the community vote. We'll bring that up right now, and it's 51% to SSG, 41% to Rogue, and then a nice even 8 there in the middle.
Well, that is definitely a slip from Rogue, who had been a team that was everyone's kind of favorite for a while, kind of dominated to an extent, a little bit in EG's shadow. But the fact that SSG's been continuing to increase their potential just shows in the vote there that they're actually managing to outpace Rogue there, which is surprising to me. But I think it's the case of what I was saying earlier about Rogue, where we're just kind of waiting for that shift that they need.
I don't think it's the craziest thing necessarily. SSG have just been showing, I think, a lot better as of late.
Yeah.
We'll see what Rogue has to offer as we load into Coastline. Space Station starting on defense, Rogue on attack. Now, starting out at the bans.
Now, keep in mind the new operators can be banned as well, so because they are in play, Mozzie and Gridlock, but the second to newest operators there, Nomad, going to be banned first. Not a huge surprise. A lot of teams don't really like dealing with Nomad. Also, Lion is available again, and we did see some bans of that earlier. Capitao, though, going to be the ban coming out here from Rogue. It was surprising me a little bit because Rogue definitely likes playing Capitao, but just in this case, they don't want to deal with it here.
I mean, Capitao is exactly like Mira. Here we go. Okay, so Rogue's attack ban and defense ban kind of, well, mirror each other.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that as a pun, but they do, in that both Capitao and Mira are the types of operators that can be kind of, well, I mean, they dictate the flow of the battle. With the way the Capitao was changed, you really do have to have fleshed out strategies around your Capitao or just get rid of it.
Yeah. And the nice thing is between these two teams, they've played a ton of this map and shown a ton of stuff. So you got to imagine those operator bans aren't just things they don't want to deal with. They're things they specifically know the other team might be using.
I think the way to put the Capitao ban and the Mira ban is that both bans are polarizing.
Yeah.
And that those operators are. And if you can get rid of them, they change the entire way the game is played at this point. Pulse also being banned here, so that's interesting. A lot of information and potential vertical play there eliminated on the defensive side, but there's still other options such as Valkyrie, though she will not be played here right out the gate.
Interestingly enough, a Lion and a Mozzie, though.
Yeah, so the Lion we saw a lot of in the European... looks like we'll be having a rehost, but we'll wait for the admins to call that. The Lion we saw a little bit of in the European Pro League just a few hours ago. And Mozzie. So I actually wanted to touch on Mozzie a little bit too, because he's really interesting. We managed to get a little bit of joystick about this in his interview earlier today, like I said, a few hours ago. Joystick said that Mozzie fills a very similar role to operators like Valkyrie, for example, whereby he can gather information and he has
peek outside a little bit even.
Right, he has a really good gun and he also has a C4, so he's a very versatile operator. And we're finding him being played prevalently recently in Pro League. We don't have a lot of sample size here because we've only had one play day, and that's the European one just earlier. But he's proven to be a pretty good operator.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of teams are feeling comfort with him.
The only downside versus something like Valkyrie, of course, is Valkyrie, you have the black eyes regardless, right? You get to use them. Mozzie depends on the other team making some mistakes. Now, well, I say mistakes, those are ones that are likely to happen, that you are going to need to be droning. Pro League especially is very heavily drone emphasized, so you're going to need to do that in areas where you have to get your drone through choke points that Mozzie can take advantage of, not to mention if he catches a drone that someone's not paying attention to, can just shoot it directly. So you do depend a little bit on the other team, but at the same time, like you said, he has a lot of other utility to bring to the table, some decent guns. The shoddy allows him to do some remodeling, much like Mira does. It's overall a strong enough operator that I think he'll be brought, but it does seem like he can be a little more situational. It might be a per map thing for some teams, whether or not they feel like they can capture some.
To me, he's basically, this is going to be weird. I feel like he's a sidestep of an Alibi, whereby his utility is useful. But when you compare it to Alibi, has a overall usefulness in terms of utility, has way more potential to be useful. But like you said, depends on your opponent. I know there are some teams who are very good at managing their drones, so they never have to worry about those bugs. But instead of impacts, you have a C4, and instead of 3-speed, you have a 2-speed. But the difference, with the things that are persistent there are good gun.
Yeah.
Shotgun secondary. Shotgun secondary cannot be underestimated for any defending operator.
It's so useful, especially when you, because we used to have so much reliance on smoke and mute now as well, like whether or not you bring them to remodel. Sometimes you even have to use the Deagle and Valkyrie to be able to do the remodeling. So it's, or the Bailiff on Maestro as well. So having all this secondary utility stuff like that has definitely been paying off, I think, and Ubisoft changing to do that more often, I think is giving a lot more flexibility in defense choices.
Yeah, just to be clear, I wasn't trying to compare Mozzie and Alibi. I don't think they're comparable operators. But in terms of the the kind of the space that they're filling right now, and in terms of utility and why they're being brought, little things like a shotgun secondary again are going to edge them over the line for a lot of teams.
We'll see too whether or not it's something that takes time to develop. A lot of teams probably won't be running Mozzie right out of the gate. A lot of teams will try and figure out, pay attention to what other teams are doing, see what works in scrims over time. So I imagine it's one of those things we'll start to see more of throughout the season, as opposed to expecting it all on play day one. But as you mentioned, we did see it during EU, and it was quite exciting, but it's also very difficult for us as a spectator to always catch when he's able to do something, because we don't always see him capturing those drones or using those, depending on what we're seeing at a time. So it's a little trickier to see how impactful he is as an operator. But nonetheless, he's definitely, I think every time he's being brought, he's bringing something to the table. Whereas Gridlock, I think, has been a bit more of a coin toss in terms of whether or not it's being extremely useful if the team plays it correctly or not. And we'd been talking earlier, and he had a lot of strong opinions on Gridlock being a very powerful operator.
Okay, so no, I don't think that Gridlock's a powerful operator. I think she has potential to be useful in certain situations. I think she's one of the better flank watch operators, depending on the context. Again, the specific situation she finds herself in. So, for example, we saw Gridlock being used on Cafe a lot to hold down...
That's all we saw was Cafe.
Right. 4 matches at Cafe. We saw Cafe, and we saw Gridlock on that map. And one thing you could do, for example, is put those Gridlock... I don't honestly know what the ability is called. You could put her Gridlock ability on the stairs, on red stairs, and hold down that flank. And that's different than, for example, an air jab. So let's discuss that. A lot of people saying Nomad is the premier flank watching operator, and that's true. She's very powerful at flank watching. But the thing is about those air jabs is that they're high risk, high reward, in that it takes one bullet to deny an air jab. We're going to go ahead and get back into the match. We'll keep talking about this as we throw ourselves back into this match on Coastline between Rogue and Spacestation Gaming. So, on the other hand, where you have Gridlock, where she can throw up a trap and cover blanket an entire area, you have to either unload your mag or use an impact. And both of those things, as a defender, is going to give away your flank.
It reminds me of Claymores a little bit, right? Where you have to use an impact most of the time to get by them.
But it's more than that. It's more than a Claymore. It's more than an air jab, because you're forced to give away more of your position as a defender. It's way more obvious when you're going for the flank. Flank watch isn't always necessarily about getting a kill or denying the flank, as much as it is about giving the attacking team information on your flank. And that's what Gridlock can be useful for. Especially
in the case of, like, a lot of times people are using drones to do that flank watch, and with drones being captured more potentially by Mozzie, you have situations where you may have less available, and then, of course, as you mentioned, then you can use those traps coming from Gridlock to be able to hold those.
I don't know what it's called either.
Yeah, no, I was trying to think. I did see the name, but I just don't recall it off the top of my head. Something fancy, I'm sure.
First season in Pro League, so...
And of course, for those of you not familiar, the Phantom Sight operators are out, but they're not playable for a minimum of the 3 months to make sure that they are going to be properly competitive. And of course, Mozzie and Gridlock have gone through that period and are in now. Same happened with Kaid and Nomad, so far that's been successful.
Yeah. So again, Mozzie right out the gate, lots of him being played. The C4 shotgun secondary combination in tow with his ability just make him a really versatile pick. I think the big thing is it really depends on your opponent. Like you can bring a Mozzie against some teams and it not be very useful in terms of utility, but he'll still be very powerful in terms of his actual kit. And when I say utility and kit, I mean, okay, his kit is his primary, his secondary, and his like C4 or barbed wire. His utility, specifically, I'm talking about the gadget.
Yeah.
The gadget can be useful against some teams, not against others. Depends on how they play. Those drones get more value the later it goes into the round. Like, if you're playing against Vitality, for example, bringing a Mozzie could be completely, like, it could really hurt them.
One thing then that's relative to the current match that I would bring up with that is if you're bringing a Maestro, and there's a Twitch to counter the Maestro, now all of a sudden you have a situation where you can bait those shock drones potentially into Mozzie's pests and capture a shock drone, which is going to be much more valuable than a regular drone. Since that is part of the current meta, we see a lot of Twitch and Maestro kind of countering each other. I think that, like, helps counter back against that to an extent.
That could certainly be a really interesting mini game to throw a wrench into for the Mozzie.
Yeah,
So
anyways.
Aquarium control here for Rogue.
Halfway in already, and so far no encounters, but definitely a lot of that control, as you mentioned, coming out. Of course, setting up for pretty much what always happens, right? A plant coming in from Aquarium to the billiards is pretty much going as planned for Rogue, it looks like, but I imagine they would have liked to have picked off a roamer. However, there's that Mozzie using that kit you just mentioned.
Yeah, so the C4 from below, pretty typical stuff. That's on Rogue for not clearing out Office. It's a really easy thing to do because you've got a doorway, and then the room is clear.
You used to have a lot of Pulse playing down there, so you had to.
Yeah, so, I mean, the Pulse is banned by Space Station, but that's why we have the Mozzie here. But yeah, clear out the Office. Once you've got Office cleared out, then you don't need to worry about those vertical C4s. But it's too late now. Rogue have paid the price. They still have Aquarium control, but they're a man down, and they've got 30 seconds left to execute onto site.
They've got 3 Lion ED ones left, and with the cooldown, they can't even use all of them unless they, do it more post-plan.
Yeah. Well, there's only, again, so little time here for Rogue, and nothing's really happening. It looks like they might be shifting to a take into Hookah. They're going to get 1 there on the entry. Great job there from Vertical, but Fultz gets the refrag. A second for Vertical. He makes his way all into sight, but it's Thinking Nade from the stairs to get 1, and then a team I don't know what Thinking Nade was trying to do there, but he's going to down his teammate. Easily will get Shala, and it's just it's just Thinking Nade on the blue stair. Well. So, okay, Rogue had 20 seconds left. 20 seconds left, and there were 4 people from Space Station, I believe, or if not 5 at that point. Vertical makes the entry. He gets 2. Thinking Nade denies that entry, and then it's a little bit of a mess over by Aquarium, but then Thinking Nade downs his teammate, stays on blue stairs in the dying seconds of the round, and costs his team.
Yeah, that's the whole round. A bit of a tilter on comms. I got to imagine, like, what were you doing? The screaming at each other at that point. Hopefully they can move past that. That's So they're going to tease out bringing the Mozzie again, but then 6th pick it over to the Valkyrie. So that, as you mentioned, kind of the different sorts of intel that you can get from those. Valkyrie being a very strong operator on this particular map because a lot of the possibilities for runouts or repel, at least understanding where they're repelling from and coming to, because obviously those outside cams will be taken out pretty easily. So.
Such a weird round to start things off. We'll shift from a Mozzie to a Valkyrie on the side of Space Station Gaming. Guess they didn't capture any drones last round. It's possible.
He was still useful, though, to use the C4, but you could do the same thing with the Valkyrie.
With the Valkyrie, exactly. So I'm just imagining that Space Station called out that the Mozzie wasn't useful and that he didn't get any drones, and we may as well bring a Valkyrie just to gather some more information. It's such a weird... It's a weird round from both teams. I mean, okay, so Rogue didn't clear up below. They pay that price by a kill from C4 from below from the Mozzie. Space Station have to defend for 20 seconds. They've got every advantage, and then just a series of unfortunate events turns it into a Rogue win.
I think losing the Ashe to a C4 is definitely not the worst situation to be in like that. Of course, I mean, it's a penalty, but it's not the worst penalty.
At the same time, they didn't get a lot of those Evil Eyes. The Twitch drones weren't very effective, and those Ashe charges can, well, be your backup solution to the Evil Eyes.
They might have been extra cautious about the potential for the Mozzies, but they also had Zofia to be able to take those out.
No matter what, to harden your point here, there was a win on the board.
They still fragged it out, right?
So, yeah, I mean, no matter how you look at it, they got the win. 2 minutes left as Rogue have taken a whole minute out of this out of the second round to clear out Master. It's good to see them hunting down the roamers. They're all playing vertically downstairs. I was going to say horizontally, but no. It's still a hookah defense here for SSG. They're trying the same site 2 in a row. I feel if you're SSG, you must have felt like you could have won that last round.
Yeah, well, in this case, what they're doing is they're bringing a little bit of extra intel from the black guys to get a bit better visibility on where the attack's coming from so they don't get fragged out so easily in the last seconds of the round like last time. Right. They just didn't have that last-minute intel, especially from anyone who died, to be able to call out where they're coming from.
All right, so Lion being a staple here for Rogue now.
But being unused. I don't think he triggered a single E1D.
I think they... I think
like
he
maybe
did,
one?
like in the start of the execute last round. I think he did, but
it's so timing dependent now with how short it is.
They go really quick, yeah, but they're still so very useful.
Yep.
It is still a situation where you have to stand still. Like no matter, okay, it's like Tachanka, right?
Yeah.
Tachanka will always be bad if you have to stay in one place. Just like Lion will always be good if he forces you to stay in one place.
Right.
Anyway, rant over. 50 seconds here for Rogue as they have taken control of Aquarium, and they haven't lost a player vertically just yet. The C4 not coming out from Space Station. It's likely that Rogue are putting a little bit more pressure on Office this time around, although I don't actually see that pressure coming out, other than a drone that we just saw there skating by on the bottom.
Well, there goes one E1D at least this time. Still 35 seconds left, though, to use the other two, but Eclipse does manage to get a kill off of it.
Here we go. Rogue putting a bunch together, and it's just 2 from Space Station. One side of Hookah will go down, leaving just Ramply. Shuttle on the floor, so it is a 1 versus 3. Make that a 1 versus 2, and he denies the plant. Oh, this is big. Only 18 seconds left for Rogue, and they have to get this plant down, but it will probably be successful thanks to the Lion. Rampy delayed on his retake, will not be able to deny this plant, or maybe he will with the C4. No, just a little too late, and it doesn't even manage to get the kill. Shuttle back up. A little bit of HP, so he'll go down quite easily, but this is a nice array here for Rogue. All they need to do is point their barrels towards where they know Rampy to be. In the post-plant, Lion EE1D will force Rampy to waste even more time. Going for the retake. Information called out on the drone. Some damage done vertical, but it's not enough. Eclipse takes down Rampy, and Rogue with 2 in a row.
Much cleaner round from Rogue that time. A little bit more thorough. Yeah, they didn't necessarily focus on the Office too much, didn't get bit by it this time, but they were a little more careful. You saw them taking out some of those evil eyes as well to be able to help set up for that execute without worrying too much about getting caught flanking, and just a lot more of those kills coming out earlier on when they were ready for it. But they did have a team kill in there as well, just like SSG did the previous round, but it just didn't cost them nearly what it did SSG in that first round. Plus, a much better execute, good use of that line you were mentioning. So I guess the cooldown may be a little bit shorter now as well, and so that may be helping them try and just use it all for execute and post-plant. And we did see be very useful for that. It denied Rampy's ability to push aggressively and take advantage of any timing advantages he may have, but they also had a good setup there where they could fire from Hookah into the billiards, take shots at him while he tried to round the corner to be able to try and get shuttle. And it was just, there was so little Rampy could do, especially with the pressure from those.
Well, like talked about, Lion will always be good as long as he makes you stand still, and he did work wonders for Rogue in that last round.
Camera feed up and running.
Big part of it is, I think, the fact that Rogue is spending a lot of time on their initial take of control. So they get control of Aquarium, but at that point, they only have a minute left in the round every time they're taking on a Hookah. That doesn't leave them a lot for the execute. But if you have a Lion, it forces Space Station to, I mean, they can't rotate as effectively, and because of that, the little amount of time that Rogue has is much more powerful. Yeah,
especially with how long it takes to get that plant down. It's definitely something that it really helps to do that. I mean, obviously it doesn't cover the whole plant, but if you time it right, we saw exactly what happens when you can't egress on the defender and try and actually do something with them.
One evil eye, rather, one Valkyrie cam already dealt with there. Job too easily right off the bat. It's a pretty common camera though. Surprised that one actually went out.
It's just a bait. Yeah.
I mean, they're not baiting anything. I don't know. It was just a really basic camera.
Yeah.
Didn't really get anything out of that for Space Station.
Well, test their thoroughness, right?
Oh, I suppose. Oh, that's E1D very early, like you say. Yeah. One player on blue stairs here for Space Station. This could be a free pick here for Rogue, but no. Charlie gonna play it safe. Probably the right call in this situation.
I mean, shotgun and blue cool vibe stairs is so effective, though, if you can manage to just hold the angle and kind of get some idea when they're actually pressuring you.
I mean, that's exactly it, though. Charlie just needs to deny a push onto blue stairs. He doesn't actually need to kill anyone, but he's going to go for it with the C4, and he'll get it. There goes Shuttle. That's the Lion. EE1D's off the board. It's a very powerful force in that Lion. Only going to be used once through this round.
Interestingly, switched up to who's playing the Valkyrie. That's going to be Foltz taking this time, and Rampy's actually going to be playing on Jaeger instead. Gives him a little more roam flexibility to be able to play that kind of roaming Jaeger, not worry so much about his utility. There's a Slash opening up a lot of the floor. This is typical, of course. You want to take the bar from above, try and get some angles behind the bar itself.
Vertical inside of Office, playing a long angle, trying to cut off that rotation. Slash just continuing to open up above the bar, and there's a free kill onto Bosco, but there's a refrag from Thinking Nade, who has retaken this top floor. It's a good, powerful position for Space Station to regain control of.
They got one-man advantage as well at this point.
Yeah. Now Rogue, wondering how they're going to attack this. It looks like they're trying to go for a default plant by Pink, or by that default couch. Clips in a tricky situation here in the barbed wire. Will go down to Thinking Nade, who drops from outside. A double piece for him. That's 3 in the round for Thinking Nade. He's looking for Vertical as well, but Vertical's looking for him. And the advantage definitely does go to Vertical because he has the detection on Thinking Nade due to him being outside as a defender.
Well, he's kind of trapped there at the moment, but you know what? He distracts, and at the very least, and time ticked away. Chala, though, with the finisher, didn't have to use that shotgun on Cool Vibes.
So that's 2 for Chala, 3 for Thinking Nade. A great retake as the Doc upstairs, and Chala making it hurt to take for upstairs in the first place.
Yeah.
And finally locking it out. So that's the first round for Space Station Gaming. Well done.
Yeah, I got to check it up to some of the early pick there. The C4 kill that came out from Chala, that was very well played. Taking out the Lion early like that, it's not just that you take out his EE1D, he also has a pretty nice gun that's going to be useful because it's a drum mag with all the extra ammo you get. You can put a little bit more suppressive pressure on, help get that plant down a little bit easier in tandem with the EE1Ds. So because he was able to get that early kill, they got a little bit early man advantage as well. But the real power player of that round, of course, was Thinking Nade. That play, getting a 3K throughout that round there, jumping outside as a slow 1-speed and still pulling it off from the window. Despite being trapped outside, didn't really matter in the end. But that was the real playmaker right there.
Absolutely. So, pretty close one so far. Switching back to the Mozzie, off of the Valkyrie. Space Station are really exploring their options when it comes to information and destruction operators on defense. By destruction, of course, I mean specifically that C4. The Super Shotty not being used very much here so far by the Mozzie, and not necessary, it seems, in the setup from Space Station. That's what makes him interchangeable with the Valkyrie, who does not have nearly as much soft destruction. She can, of course, open up walls for murder holes with that Deagle, but it's less efficient, and you cannot make rotations.
Now, more often it's used to set up the Black Eyes a little bit more efficiently inside walls and things like that, or to open up a few lines of sight, like you said. But yeah, you're not going to be opening a vault holes. It's certainly not Buck's skeleton key.
Yeah. I don't think anything is as efficient as Buck's skeleton key at soft destruction. So,
well,
Rogue, again, going to be starting off their take, clearing out those roamers. Last time they attacked the site, I believe they did very similar roam clear, and then they ended up in Aquarium. They're going to start with Master, VIP, they work their way over to the southwest side where Aquarium lies, and then they begin their assault onto the site.
Well, so far this is an 0 for 2 for SSG, so I got to imagine Rogue going to be a lot more confident this round, should be attacking a little bit earlier.
An 0 for 2, but at the same time, that first round really should have been Space Station.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just a frag fest at the end, kind of deciding it, but I think they showed a lot more confidence the second time they won it. Showed that they could definitely take this site well.
Rogue had a much more decisive advantage the second time around. And maybe that's why the Mozzie has made a resurgence, as he is what Space Station brought the first time, and it worked out really great for him. You can see he's got a hacked drone already sitting inside of Aquarium, and he will be able to C4 anyone from Rogue who pushes into Aquarium, well, as soon as they do that, using the drone.
Good catch there, catching one of the pests as well just before he threw his drone out. Could have lost that had he not caught that.
Switch drone inside of Hookah, trying to call it as much as is possible. Surprising that it's not being dispatched there. Pretty common spot to see a drone. Bosco not searching for one right now. Rogue again slower on their attacks, but thorough. That's probably the right call in this situation.
I gotta imagine they want to make sure they can clear the Evil Eyes too, if possible, early on.
Yes, that would be ideal. a call was made there. Player by the Vase, and that is going to be Chala, who gets dispatched by Vertical. Good teamwork between Vertical and whoever made out that call. I believe, actually, no, he made it himself. It was the Twitch drone inside of the site. So
did himself a favor.
Good job to Vertical and an individual level to get a free pick onto Chala, who left himself exposed.
I don't think they realize there is that drone captured by Mozzie because you see him keep rotating around without looking over to it. So that could be a big, big player later on.
Like we were talking about earlier, C4 from below, and there it goes. Oh. It's a failure from Rampy, and that could be really bad. Vertical goes for a rush in, and it's successful. Bosco, Vertical is nuts. 3 for him in the round, going for 4. Pistol out, and he gets it. It's Rampy, the last defender left alive, and he's downstairs. Vertical is hungry and hunting. Holding on to those blue stairs. There's only 17 seconds for Rampy to rotate back. The plant goes down, so that'll be extended just ever so slightly. But the post-plant Lion EE1Ds are going to make Rampy's life very difficult. It's a rotation here over to Connector. It looks almost as if Rampy is just trying to deny the ace.
Yeah, I think they're just going for sort of the pseudo timeout at this point.
Yeah, so a lot of teams in this situation, they'll just tell their last player to stay alive, give some extra time to, formulate the next round. So that's what Rampy is doing right now. It's not vindictive. He's not trying to deny the ace necessarily. He's just trying to give his team time to plan out round number 5.
It does suck for Vertical, though, who I would have loved to see get that final kill.
We can call it an ace. I think we can go ahead and call that a honorary ace there for Vertical.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, even droning for himself, doing some good work from that earlier, opening kill from him. It was just, that was definitely his round. And we've talked about it time and time again, the power of that F2. I don't think the recoil changes that are, potentially coming are going to even be strong enough to be able to stop the power of that gun. It's just the fire rate is insane. And we know how powerful high fire rate guns are in this game, especially in the hands of someone who can aim as well as Vertical can.
Yeah, Vertical really had a round and a half there. And all playing from the hookah door. The lack of attentiveness there from the hookah door for SSG is surprising.
It was the smoke. He threw the smoke and then just turned his back. Oh, no one's going through smoke.
That's the thing, is you can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, no matter how you look at it, it's a bad idea.
But that's what cost them, in some ways, the round to an extent. Had he actually properly delayed and denied Vertical from coming in, it might have turned out very differently.
Yeah, if it's... Okay, let's run a different scenario for you guys. If you're playing against a Montaigne on the hookah balcony, there's barbed wire, there's Legion traps on the door, then you throw down your smoke. Yeah, okay, he's not going to push through that. Yeah, and if he does, he's going to have a bad time and probably die. Yeah. But against a Twitch or maybe like an Asher, any kind of 2-speed, 3-speed operator, in that situation they have enough speed and life to get through that kind of situation, especially when there's a vault prompt right after you come in on the hookah bar. So nice try there for SSG, but a better effort for Vertical and Rogue as a whole. I like Rogue's clear, by the way, on hookah. We can talk about that as well. Not only Vertical's performance through that round, but the overall clear of the top floor for Rogue is very efficient. And, they're attacking late, but they're being thorough. And you got to respect that.
I got to say, in general, once they come late round and start attacking hookah, it seems to be very effective for them as a team in general from the previous rounds as well. It's just, they put a lot of pressure on Aqua, but as soon as they feel like they have strong control of it, pressure starts coming very heavily from the hookah side, and it seems to be just poorly countered by SSG. So thankfully, finally giving up on the site, they're going to go down to Kitchen instead.
Yeah, I think that's the right call. But those 3 rounds are going to cost Space Station in the long run. That's 3 rounds that they went to hookah over and over and over. And
I hope they learned a lot, right? Because that cost them a lot doing that.
Obviously, they learned a lot, right? But this is the worst environment. Well, the second worst, third worst. Okay, worst is majors, second worst season finals. This is, probably the 3rd worst environment to be learning on your rounds in 3 in a row at that.
Well, one EE, 1D coming out a little bit earlier this time as well. They seem to be timing them a little bit earlier just to be able to get map control when they want to push into a room. They've droned the people out. They want to make sure they stay in that position so they can successfully enter and hold the room. Seems to help.
Yeah. Vertical in a tricky spot here. He's actually sandwiched, but he's going to get Thinking Aid and almost Rampy. A nice refrag there from Ramster, though. And with that, Space Station still in this round. Chala's also going to take down Eclipse. It's a really good job for him just sitting in this corner. He will not be able to do anything to Slash Hug. That's a really good job there for Rogue, getting those refrags. Same thing for Space Station, and because of that, we find ourselves in a 3-on-3. Love the teamwork going on with both of these squads right now.
Yeah, ramping the worse for wear here, so that's going to be a little bit of advantage to Rogue. Plus, they've still got a minute left here to play with, but there is smoke, there is the yokai, and there is, of course, the possibility of capturing drones. So it's a pretty decent setup for the defenders, and at least one EED has been burned, and they don't have any shock drones left, although they don't have Maestros to deal with this round, so.
Yeah. The switch onto the Echo, and we have an IQ for Rogue, which means that won't be the end of the world. Easily still alive on that IQ, able to influence the round. 40 seconds left here. Rogue gonna take their time. Just gonna drone out, find out what they're dealing with here. Space Station seems to have mostly fallen back to site, which is likely the right call. One roamer lingering by that main lobby. He'll be able to play a crossfire with his teammates in sight. Because there's so little time here for Space Station, they know they just need to wait it out and go for a retake if necessary. E1Ds make that so much more difficult. Here comes the gas canister to counter, though, by delivery. Bosco takes down Shuttle in the main lobby, or right outside, rather, and that's the Lion gone. A second for Bosco. This main lobby roam is certainly working out, and it's just easily 3 seconds left. He's not going to be able to make it happen. Fultz, the final kill, and Space Station win on every site that isn't hookah. But having gone to hookah 3 times, the most they can hope for in this first half is an even 3-3.
Yeah, they're going to probably go back to bar, I imagine, at this point. The only other site that you mentioned they won, since they can't go back there now. But yeah, it's not looking great for them losing hookah every single time like that. I mean, you know, obviously that was their primary, the one that they really wanted to play. Otherwise, you don't try it that many times. But it's a case where at least they're winning on the other off sites. It's just a case of they got to do it consistently 2 times here for bar, or like you said, they don't go for that tie halfway. And that is also important, is at least getting a tie situation halfway. You don't want to be going in the side switch at a disadvantage. But I think one thing we definitely saw that round was, again, Rogue getting good map control. They seem to be very well-rehearsed, well-oiled machine when it comes to getting that map control, taking advantage of good drone work, good teamwork with the Lion calls as well to be able to push in, be able to take advantage of those. Even when Vertical was pinched, still managed to at least trade 1. So they're getting that map control, but it was the actual execute on site. Look at that Vertical 7 there. Is the actual push onto the site itself that seems to be where they're struggling a little bit. Even on hookah, sometimes that was a little bit more of a problem.
Like
and a lot
the
of
first
times,
round.
yeah, and a lot of times that just depended on good firefights going in their favor in the hookah room itself. Usually was what tipped the scales, but they did not have that advantage downstairs, and so that's definitely something that's a little bit of a weakness for them. It's just unfortunate for SSG they can't go back there again.
So, Space Station on double bar. This is their last defensive round. And this is, I think, a decent site for them to find themselves on. The last time they were here, it was a very interesting retake by Thinking Nate.
Yeah.
To the top floor. Surprised he got away with it. Managed to get 1 kill on their initial retake, then dropped outside to flank the Rogue push into sight from the window. That was a really successful overall play from Thinking, and then Chala also really punished Rogue for taking that top floor, playing by the blue stairs, and then followed that up with the final kill. So, Space Station have some good aggression, I would say, on this site, which is necessary on double bar, as it's difficult sometimes to find a decent foothold as an anchor, especially when you lose control of hookah, like SSG just have. /Hug forcing Chala to fall back on those blue stairs. And later, he will use those breaching charges you see he has to open up this floor and force SSG off of the Sunrise bar.
Yeah, it's nice when you don't have a sledge or a buck to be able to bring those, especially for a site like this where you have to kind of attack from above.
Breaching charges became relevant, I think, really when... I mean, they were always, you know, something you could use, but...
Thinking gets away with it again.
There you
Not
go.
jump out this side, I don't think, but he did a peek out at least.
Yeah, Thinking Nate getting, like we talked about, some very aggressive kills. Yeah, breaching charges became a little bit more relevant when they were adjusted very recently. They're a lot faster to place and very effective still, so...
And less likely of self-damage.
Yeah.
Or friendly damage.
You don't have to bring a dedicated self-destructor necessarily all the time anymore. And that's nice for some teams.
But that's where obviously the pulse ban helps as well, because you don't have someone watching you do that and taking advantage of it for C4. But there's a nice advantage taking from Slash, taking down Fultz. That is the Maestro down, so no adjusting of those Evil Eyes that could, which is good because the Twitch is dead, so...
Yeah, if the Evil Eyes are not pointed in useful directions now, they won't be useful at all through this round. Excellent pick there for Slash, and through the metal bars, no less. Not an easy shot to land.
Well, they definitely have the pressure on here, but 50 seconds left. They need to start actually taking some control of the bar in terms of getting some more of the players from above, taking down. Perhaps thinking Nade would be a good one to kill here.
It looks like that Evil Eye was just a fake out, trying to waste some of the defender's utility. There's still plenty of time here for Rogue to commit to an execute, easily going for a little bit of a commando crawl in through the entry here into Sunrise. Rampy's going to take down Shuttle by the blue bar, and that's going to be a retake of the top floor, which forces Easily to fall back, though Eclipse will take down Bosco as he pushes in through the blue bar. What an interesting round so far. SSG in weird spots, but they're going to take the advantage, leaving just Slash in a 1 versus 2. He's only got 15 seconds left. This makes things really difficult for him against Thinking Nade and Chala, two of the stars the last time Double Bar was defended by Space Station. A push here from Slashhook into a crossfire, and he's going to get 1 but not 2. Space Station again take every single site that is not Hookah on their defensive half. But that's it. It's over, and a 3-3 split will be the result.
Definitely the case where Rogue was doing fine, but then started getting too many players isolated, then losing that top floor control. Real problem for them. Had they been able to get the plant down before that, like it looked like they were going to, that actually might have made it a lot more doable at the end because they don't have to hold that top floor control as much once the plant's already down. But you see all the time that cost them, the IQ player having to start to run away from the position he just crawled over to. They just lost way too many control, and as one player after another got picked off, I think the momentum really pushed in SSG's favor, them taking advantage of that, capitalizing on that.
Yeah. It was a good job for SSG, especially towards the end of that round, to isolate and contain specific parts of the Rogue attack, but not to overextend themselves. In that, for example, they retook the top floor, but then they did not try to force Sunrise control. SSG knew that there was so little time on the board that if they could just deny the simple push in through Sunrise and go for a retake later in the round if necessary, if it be that the diffuser gets planted, then they would be nice and comfortable. If Space Station had started rushing there, I'm confident Slashhug probably would have been able to finish off those last 2 players.
Well, it'll be interesting too, Rogue, and now that the side's switched here, going on to the most successful site for SSG and starting there rather than Hookah. They're also going to be bringing the Mozzie and a Doc as well as the Maestro. And it's, I don't know, I mean, this could be a much better start for Rogue since it seemed like it took a while for SSG to realize Hookah wasn't the site for them.
Camera feed up and running.
Yeah, that is the problem. We talked about that in the first half. It's very punishing when you commit to a site so fervently and then you fail so drastically time after time. And that is, like I said, it costs you. That's really the simplest way to put it. And now SSG are, in a sense, working on the back foot. Either Rogue makes the same mistake, or this is going to be very tricky and very difficult for SSG to win.
Well, one difference here is they're not going to be bringing the Twitch drone, so they're not going to be able to as effectively take out the Evil Eyes. And of course, they have the Zofia as well as some grenades from the Buck, but it's not quite the same in terms of being able to take those out as easily without having to expose yourself by just using a drone instead. So I think this could work out in Rogue's favor, as we didn't see the Buck as necessary, as you mentioned, because of being able to use breach charges, for example.
Scanning. Stay sharp.
You got those nades on the Buck, which is helpful, especially with the Evil Eyes. Looks like one's going to be used for just that purpose. Oh. Shot from Eclipse, though, will punish Rampy. Nade does come out. Evil Eye likely dispatched, but that is very worth it for Rogue.
Yeah, going to be even harder now to take out those Evil Eyes, as you mentioned. Buck's grenades useful for that. No longer going to happen. Nice shot compliment as well coming out from Rampy. So it's always nice to see that sportsman-like conduct coming out from these guys. And that final pest getting put up as the other one had gotten destroyed. So Eclipse did a great job holding that, but as I say that, gets taken down.
Right here from Slash, trying to find someone to repel, and he will give away his position in that endeavor. But he still has control of the main lobby, which is a very solid place to roam overall. You got a lot of places where you can play to deny from a push from any location. And as long as Slash stays alive over there, he will be helpful for his team. Nice angle there from Fultz, but he's actually going to be punished for it by Vertical. Actually, I don't think that was Vertical,
not too much,
but still punished at the same time. One player on 90, I believe, and that's going to be Bosco, leaving himself exposed to Vertical. Yeah, who actually is by 90. So, great job there to the Doc, who starts to run back to the pool table, and he's going to make it there, alive. Safe and sound, and since he's a Doc, he'll be able to heal himself back to just about a little over full health.
Looking pretty good here for Rogue, holding this off with a man advantage and only 30 seconds left. No Lion to help them on this here. They have the phone calls from the Dokebi, and that's about it. But you heard that already going off. One Logic Bomb left, but it's stuck on a cooldown at the moment for this last 20 seconds here. It's not looking great for SSG on the stack.
They have smokes, and that's the one redeeming factor here for Space Station. They've managed to take control of above the site, and they have smokes to deny the site. But there's gas canisters to deny them in turn, and the Maestro's still alive, so an Evil Eye is likely in place here as well. Here comes a C4. Chala going for a rush in. He knows he doesn't have any other option. It won't work out. Folt's alive upstairs. I'm not sure what he's doing there, and Rogue will take the round.
Very, very well played round by Rogue. Just a lot of good controlled aggression, but also a lot of good delaying. So, for example, how long we were able to see Theater held by Eclipse. Yeah, he did eventually lose it, but took one down and held it for a lot of time. And also the operator he took down was potentially an important one for that attack. So that was great. And then, of course, we had the Duck as well playing fantastic. I believe it was Vertical, getting the kill at 90. Just overall, just a couple of good individual plays by their upstairs roamers, I think made a huge difference in putting a lot of pressure on SSG to try and take that map control and actually turn into something time-wise towards the end. And like I said, they didn't have the EE1Ds to help with that map control, as well as being able to burn time towards the plan.
So one little specific critique there for Space Station. Well, two things that I want to touch on, actually. One on an overall scale and one more specific. Space Station didn't clear the whole top floor. Rogue had a very, I'd say, efficient full clear of the top floor when they were attacking on Coastline. And when they needed to attack a specific location, they were, they didn't clear everything, but they contained what they didn't clear. And the fact that Vertical was allowed to play by 90 just next to your roam clear upstairs in Master on the side of Space Station, it's really not great.
It's an oversight.
It is a serious oversight on the side of Space Station. A little bit more droning, 15 seconds more of droning, and that isn't a problem for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, something Space Station will need to work on moving forward. And it did definitely cost them there. Another thing, though, Foltz, I know that vertical control is very important, but that's the sort of situation where, as an individual player, you need to be able to make the call. Yeah, okay, my team needs me on the site push.
Yeah.
15 seconds left. I might not be able to change anything, but I'm definitely not going to change anything from up here. May as well make the adjustment. Maybe one of his teammates called for him to hold the rotation. That would be sensible.
Yeah.
There's, sometimes you just need to be like, yeah, no. I'm not going to affect any change from here. I need to move.
Yeah, I mean, I got to say, overall, that is kind of a little bit of a theme in what we're seeing here, in that Rogue seems a bit more coordinated overall than SSG. SSG has some good individual plays, some individual players, but overall, like their sort of top-down control of what they're doing at all times seems to be much more in the favor of Rogue so far throughout this match.
I mean, we've only seen one attacking round from Space Station, to be fair. And things could change.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, the operator lineups, I feel like were better from Rogue to deal with what was going on from the defense of SSG. That being said, it did turn out to a 50-50 split in terms of 3-3, throughout. So it's not like they dominated attack.
And that's more to do with the fact that Space Station kept going to hookah, and that was a site that they just seemingly didn't know how to defend at the time.
Absolutely. I mean, like you said, we'll see how this round goes here. They're going to have to be smart about how they use those logic bombs and use those maybe for the roam clearing that you're talking about, that they just weren't as efficient on with the drones themselves. Maybe they were also a little scared of the Mozzie. We see, I think, some teams being a little more reserved with their drone play when they know a Mozzie's in play.
Rampy in a Buck's dream right now, as he's going to be able to open up all of this and really change the landscape for Rogue's defense. As Foltz sets himself up on the side entrance door, he will be able to get a long angle and catch the rotations from the players that are going to be forced out of their positions thanks to Rampy. Or at least he will be, if he opens up the barricade. It's a two-man retake here onto the top floor between Vertical and Eclipse, and they are spotted and eliminated one by one. Still Vertical in play here, and the phone call is actually going to give away Vertical's location. A refrag immediately onto the person who killed Eclipse. Rogue decided to get aggressive because of the Buck, but nothing gained from it.
They're doing a decent hold of the bar itself, though they haven't let them get a lot of traction. And then Rampy gaining a kill onto easily is also definitely going to help things out here, as now the smoke is gone.
I mean, Rogue are in still a decent position, but it looks like they're about to lose Slashug, who has found himself in a tricky spot. Does a little bit of damage there to Chala. But where's the plant attempt here for Space Station? They've got so many kills on the board, but they still have to plant that diffuser, right? Vertical's going to take down Thinking and leave just Shuttle as Vertical gets eliminated. Shuttle has down one. Can't deny the plant from here, and it will likely go down thanks to Chala. Sees one by Bar, but can't land the shot onto Bosco, who drop shots Shuttle to the grave, and Rogue will lose their first defense.
I mean, great time play by Rogue, but then they just started losing too many firefights towards the end, getting picked off left and right. It just seemed like they weren't able to really hold off the rest of the map. It's like, yes, they were able to hold off the bar. You saw even Slash going kind of almost desperate, as you mentioned, with the LMG, just covering it as long as he possibly could, denying entry into the room. They had the smokes doing the same thing as well, but then it was just lack of control of the rest, Blue Bar itself as well, losing some of the control. And there, it's just too many angles working against them when they're so concentrated on stopping a push. And they were doing a great job of it, but in the end, it didn't really matter because not enough manpower left to completely deny it.
It was an interesting round, that's for sure. I do feel like Rogue had little to no control. Space Station did a much better job than they did the first round of the second half in controlling the roamers. So Rogue went for a two-man retake there from the main stairs, or the white stairs, and accomplished nothing in that attempt. They also lost control vertically and then were forced into really bad anchor spots.
Yeah.
And Space Station punished Rogue for rotating into those bad anchor spots. They forced Rogue to rotate and then punished Rogue for the rotates. So that's a really well-executed round from Space Station and not a lot of answer back from Rogue. There just wasn't any kind of... there wasn't a counterpunch being thrown. Or rather, it was thrown. It was that double-man retake by the main lobby, but it was thrown poorly and blocked easily by Space Station.
Yeah,
so,
that shot from Thinking Nade taken down, that really completely chopped the head off that.
Yep, here, Thinking Nade got it. So here's, ladies and gentlemen, new way to get onto the tarp of Coastline for anyone who didn't know that one. So, okay, there's at least 6 ways right now, by the way.
The tarp's very useful. You need a lot of ways to get up there. I mean, at this point, it's just kind of a given.
Sorry, I just counted them in my head. I know of 5 ways to get up there right now, and they continue to try and change them. I wonder when the tarp's just going to disappear one day.
Yeah, just take the tarp.
It's got to go at some point, right?
Something else there.
Yeah.
Well, what'll be interesting to see here is the change up from Rogue. They're going to be bringing the Echo this time, as they are finally playing Hookah because, well, they didn't want to try Bar a second time. They'd rather try their hand at Hookah and see if they can play better than SSG. But the nice thing is the Echo. So the Echo, I think, on that defensive site especially is useful because you almost always know exactly where they're going to plant. Even if it's in smoke, you can still hit them with the yokai. So it's just extremely useful, but they have the IQ to be able to spot it. So that's going to be the hard part there, is just trying to keep it in a position where you can use it without losing it.
Yokai and Maestro. You don't see that every day. Usually one of them is banned, but this time it's
Echo.
a pulse instead.
Well, we'll see if they can use them effectively, as again, there is no Twitch shock drone to be able to take out at least the Evil Eyes, so you're going to have to do a little bit more manual. Oh, Rampy, though, very close to a Pest there, as you saw the warning on the screen, almost lost that drone.
Yeah, and Pests do much more effectively deny drones than mutes, by the way, because with a mute, you can jump over the mute sometimes, a lot of the time, actually. You just find out which corner it's on, and you jump on the far corner, and usually you can make it past a mute jammer. But with a Pest, it's just not, it doesn't work.
It jumps on you.
Yeah, it jumps on you, so exactly, well put. So there's not a way really to easily get through those doors without actually destroying the Pest first. Slash, a nice aggressive kill there on Defaults, who is just lingering and languishing at the doorway to Aqua because of, I believe, a Pest that denied the drone and thus the information, and thus the push into that location. Slash gets another one onto Bosco, and he's really on fire right now, playing inside of the billiards.
Interesting to see that the Mozzie is playing a similar spot to the way SSG did it as well down in office, but Slash with 3 now. He is a one-man army up here, and that's Diffuser down with no one to retake it right there with the smoke.
And look at that attempted refract from Rampy, and there it is. Finally, Slash goes down. Surprise, Slash didn't see Rampy. A little bit of a delayed reaction on the side of both. But the kill finally, again, shuts down the start of the round there for Rogue. Thinking Nade also takes down a clip on an attempted flank there, so Space Station find themselves back in this round. But so little time, and information is in the favor of Rogue. Vertical takes down Thinking Nade, leaving just Rampy, who will trade with Easily. Nice job there to Rogue to take another round Really decent attempt, though, from Space Station.
Well, in this case, Rogue finally shows Space Station what they should have been doing for 3 rounds on their defense, which is winning hookah. And that, I think, is a big game changer. Not only are they in the lead here in points, but they've shown that they can win the bomb sites that SSG struggle with. Yes, they did lose bar, which is one that SSG won twice. But at the same time, I think they can win bar. I think they can make the adjustments they need if they want to. But instead, they're going to go back to their primary, which is kitchen, which worked out for them just fine the very first defense round.
So, kitchen, the next site. This was the first site defended by Rogue. They were successful when they defended it. SSG spent a lot of time clearing upstairs, but didn't fully clear out upstairs, which ended up costing them because Vertical was roaming by 90. You could expect SSG to be much more thorough this time and actually drone out the top floor, if not fully clear it.
It also helped the Buck was the first thing lost as well, so it meant that there was going to have to be those breach charges from the Zofia to even open up any of the floor.
But the breach charges got enough to actually establish vertical control and allow for a push in through delivery. It was just too late in the round, and SSG had lost too much manpower. Like you said, even if you lose the utility from the Buck, I think in that case, in the first round, it was more important that Space Station lost the manpower. Yeah. That was the real hit because they just lost so much and gained so little in response. Nope, he's going to have to retry that one.
You see so many times now people are sticking them inside things as much as possible to try and avoid being seen very easily from different angles, but as long as it faces the way you want.
I mean, they did change those rings ever so slightly. I don't even know when it was, but it was in the last year. They changed those rings to make them way easier to spot now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you got to hide them a little bit more effectively. It's less of a subtle glow and more of a, like, here's a literal, like, hard LED ring that is not even part of the model.
That became important by how many were being thrown outside. Once they changed the way the throws worked and you were able to just huck them so far outside, you needed to make them easier to spot.
Well, that was a long time ago. I mean, they changed it back. They changed that back then. Thank you.
Yeah.
But that was, yeah. Anyway, Space Station droning out, clearing the top floor just above the site. Do their best here. Again, last time they did this, they were not very thorough, and it really did cost them. So potential engagements happening here for Thinking Nate. He will see an opponent, though not shoot him. And Vertical, being very aggressive. It's dangerous. That upside repel is very powerful right now. He could get away with it. He wants to retain his position, as you can see, at the top of the main stairs. And he will win the fight against Thinking Nate. A beautiful shot there. And the backwards prone, I think, is what actually allowed Vertical to win that, because when you go backwards prone, it's really hard to land a headshot onto those 3 armors.
Yeah. Well, Eclipse following that up with the C4 there again, making the C4 on the Mozzie work. You see why it's so important that he has that.
Are you forecasting a match point here?
I sure am, especially with this man advantage. 5-2, now 2. Slash going off again on that Meister. He does get down, but you know what? He did the damage already.
Yeah.
This is on Chala and Bosco, and as much as they're good at this, is not going to be easy to pull off.
Yeah, the person who downed him is dead anyway, so it's going to be a revive there from Vertical, and we're back to a 5-on-2. This is a tricky spot here for Space Station. They've got a minute to work with, so it's possible, but I just don't see Rogue throwing this away. I really like the way that Rogue have been very assertive throughout this round. Vertical did not... Oh, shotgun from Mozzie, and it's going to be 2 blasts, point blank, but it'll work out. And you can see Eclipse going for even more. Chala known inside of Projector and sprayed upon by his opponents. It'll be a collapse here from Rogue, I'm sure, in moments. But Chala's just waiting for a free pick. He's not going to get one.
No.
Rogue's not going to throw this away.
I mean, it would be hard for him to find 5 in the time left.
Yeah, it would be one of the greatest clutches of all time. He's going to get one, maybe, but no secured kill. Slashug will take down Chala, and it's a perfect round to put us on a match point for Rogue.
Still, I love that new flawless round thing that appears.
It is nice, yeah.
I still almost need, he almost needs the voiceover, right? The flawless round, the quad kill.
I guess that's our job.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, we can just read it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there is that match point, though. That is definitely looking pretty good here for Rogue, who were not the community's favorite this time.
No, they actually lost the community vote. 41% of you thought that Rogue were going to win this. 51 thought that Space Station were going to win this, and there was an 8 for the draw.
Of course, it's not over yet. We're not saying that it's guaranteed, but it's...
I think this could easily be a draw.
Yeah.
But there's no win for Space Station, so already 51% off.
Very true. They are going to bring out the Jackal for the first time, though, deciding phone calls, not great. I mean, The Jackal is much better sometimes at tracking them a little bit easier and getting an actual pinpoint location rather than just phoning it in. So Chala hopefully going to be a little more effective this time. He's also going to be bringing the smokes that they can hopefully use to help with a potential plant here. But again, not bringing anything to deny what Rogue brings in general. They're not bringing a whole lot other than the IQ to be able to spot out some of the gadgets. We'll see, though, if they're able to win enough firefights to at least reduce down the manpower, because that seems to be a big strong point for late rounds. If Rogue has the extra manpower, they seem to be able to use that to pretty much steamroll the rest of the players on SSG.
So, that last round, I mean, there's not really a whole lot to say. Space Station just didn't even get past the roamers upstairs. Like I said during the round, I liked the assertiveness from Rogue in that they did not give up any of their positions.
We saw even just playing the window.
Right.
Vertical, just like, this is my window. I'm going to lay here.
I'm going to stay here.
Yeah.
This is, you can't have it. I'm sorry, Thinking Nade. You just can't have it. And I like that. Again, from Rogue, it's confidence. And they have what it takes to back up that confidence in the way that they're playing. Which
is good, because this is a good map for SSG normally, too. This is something that you expect them to play very well on, so having that confidence, to me, means they did their research on this as well, in terms of prepping for it.
Yeah, it definitely seems that way. Space Station, though, again, we talked about it earlier, not out of this yet. It is looking really bad for them right now, but they still could bring it back. Not bringing in Dokkaebi anymore. They're instead going to bring a Jackal, who I'm surprised he hasn't been brought actually through this match just yet.
This was his map he was introduced on.
He's just generally powerful. Yeah, all the time, no matter what.
There's so many choices now. I feel like some of the operators like Jackal might just not get picked as much.
Yeah, it's funny, huh? There's so many operators that are good always that the good always ones don't seem as powerful as they used to be.
Yeah.
Because there's so many of them. Yay, quantity. When everyone's super, no one will be.
Exactly. Well, it has already been almost half of the round, and no one found each other just yet. But the droning coming out, the patience here from SSG is they know they're on that match point, right? They cannot goof around this round. They cannot under-drone. They need to be prepared for where Rogue is playing and then win those gunfights. And so they need to use it. Well, there we go. Good trade, at least.
Good job, Bosco. You got him back. Slashug's going to take down Fultz there with a nice tap-tap, and Space Station find themselves at a man disadvantage. They would probably be at a much more significant disadvantage if it weren't for that Claymore. Well, here we go. Space Station on match point, one man down with a single minute left to attack the site. They have some control, but not a whole lot. And the roam from Rogue is primarily vertical. That's how they're trying to deny this site push. And they're doing a good job of it so far.
I mean, that seems to be where their strong point is. Slash getting taken down, though. At least he got one kill before, but that's important because Slash has been pretty critical to a lot of these defenses.
The nade from Rampy is going to down Eclipse, but it looks like he'll be pick himself right back up. Could have been somebody else down him either way. No matter how you look at it, he is going to get back up because he's a doc. 30 seconds left. One of the smokes used by the Jackal, and the gas canisters coming out in force. Eclipse roaming by the main lobby, and he will be confronted by Thinking Nade in security. These two know that each other are located right on the other side of this doorway, and that fight is going to probably be a very slow one. Easily trying to deny the push in, but he will be unsuccessful. Shuttle with the C4, that's probably not going to deny the plant, as it is safe behind the reinforcement. It's a good job here to T'Challa getting the plant down. The rush from Easily not going to work, and Eclipse gets picked off as well, leaving just Shuttle in a 1 versus 3. He doesn't see the planter, though, and he's going to overlook T'Challa, costing Rogue the round. Space Station Gaming not out of this yet.
Definitely looking closer to that tie that 8% of the community thought was possible.
Yep.
I think there's a stronger chance of that, especially this is a map that SSG likes to tie on, apparently.
SSG. Have I told you guys about SSG's record in Pro League and how much they like to tie?
They should become an artist because they love to draw.
Yeah, they really do love to draw. That's a great way to put it. Thank you, Emzo. So yeah, if you're wondering what we're talking about, Space Station Gaming in the last season, Season 9, had 6 draws, 4 wins and 3 losses.
And that's what sucks.
6 draws.
When you see it on the leader, when you see how they position on the leaderboard, you think, oh, they're not doing that great this season. But it's like they're always just one round away from being amazing the whole season.
Yeah, it's 6 draws, and I think it was 4 in a row. Yeah, it was 4 in a row for Space Station, the first half of last season that Space Station got draws.
Their choke streak.
It's almost half of their matches, one off of half of their matches.
You know, the plus side of that is saying that it's similar to what we're seeing in the situation here. When they're on match point, they don't feel out of the game just yet. They're able to bring it back a lot of times, because I imagine a lot of those draws were them swinging back at match point, and the teams have done that. Of course, though, if you look at it, though, there's this perfect mirroring where SSG lost Hookah every time but won every other site. And you have the mirror of that with Bar for Rogue. The only site that they've lost is Bar.
Yeah.
So it's a similar kind of thing going on. Here's the Hookah for another attempt here from Rogue where they won it.
That's the big difference. We talked about how Hookah 3 times was going to cost Space Station. Well, guess how many times Rogue have gone to Bar? 2.
Yeah.
They went 2 times to a site that they felt they couldn't win, and they're now, well, look at that. They're not going there anymore.
Yeah, they could have gone there this round.
They could have, but what are they not doing? They're not going there. They decided to go, hey, you know what?
They're using the noggins.
We like going to Hookah. We won Hookah the one time we went there. Let's go to Hookah. Thinking Nade downed. We didn't actually. I didn't see it. Did you see it?
This is risky. No, but it does look like could get a jump out here from Vertical, as he's been playing fairly aggressive. But no, there must not be a camera out there they can see to know that bait is not going to work.
Better safe than sorry.
Oh yeah.
Vertical's thinking 3 points, not 1 point. Three. We want the 3 points. So he's not going for the run out. He's playing it safe.
Well, we'll see if that pays off. Of course, whether or not they can win this round. But Thinking Nade only gets reset to 20 health, which is unfortunate for him. That reset stuff.
That's the thing. That's the thing. When you get downed, you're really punished in the round now. Back when we
upside, though, is that you don't feel as bad about not finishing a kill.
Right, exactly. Back in the day when we had 50 HP, you could go for a reset, or you just pick someone up from down and they have still 2 bullets of survivability in a gunfight. That's fine. That's fine. Manageable. Which forced the defenders to be more aggressive on downs. But now when you down someone, it's like 20 HP.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not worth the risk.
I'll win the next gunfight. It's not a huge deal.
I'll just shoot him later.
Yeah.
Oh, Fultz. Yeah, no, sorry, they were there on the same team. What am I saying there? But they're definitely taking good control of that top floor.
Yeah, good teamwork there for Space Station to get control of Aquarium. Doesn't look like they need to worry about vertical pressure, though. Eclipse is, I believe, downstairs. So he could come out of Sunrise and go over to Office to see.
Well, that's what he's been doing before, so wouldn't surprise me in the least. It looks like he might just be waiting for the right time. He's actually potentially even on one of their drones. Yeah. Whether or not he captured one.
He's going to be playing for Denial downstairs. That's his whole job right now. And meanwhile, in terms of Denial on site, there's an Echo, a Maestro, and a Smoke. So Space Station would still have 5 alive, but they've got Thinking Nade lit, 50 seconds left, and an Echo, Smoke, and Maestro combination to deny the push into site.
Yeah, you guys are going to need some more time, SSG, or just frag out.
Yeah, this is going to be definitely either a rush call for Space Station, or they're probably going to lose it.
Yeah. I mean, Slash has been so effective in areas right there. So that is, if Slash stays alive here, they're not going to make this. It's over for SSG if he could just hold himself there.
Yeah, that's the problem, is that how are you fragging out against these players when they're fragging out against you so effectively, like you say? Bosco's going to take down Vertical, so that's a really good pick there. Space Station needs everything they can get. It's a push in through the smoke by Jackal, which will be fruitless. Slashhug will shut down Chala, and that's Diffuser down with 15 seconds left. Space Station have to frag out to win this. It's just easily, so it is very possible, and they will manage it. Space Station Gaming, in keeping with their traditions, will be having a draw, and it'll be the first match for their season 6-6.
Definitely fantastic play by both teams.